All right, joined here with Lance Montgomery, President and CEO of HeyBryan. How are you today?
I'm doing okay, working from my house as all of us are. How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm very good, actually. Great to sit down with you. I was like, just reading some stuff last night, and I thought, here's an interesting business model. So, you guys are an online app. You basically connect trusted experts servicing all like home maintenance needs for everyday consumers. You trade on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol HEY and under the OTC, excuse me, under the symbol HEYBF. So I wanted to ask, right now there's just, it's springtime. A lot of people want to get home renovations done. And, Doug Ford came out earlier this week saying that no more than 5 people in a social gathering. So walk me through, I guess, some of the challenges you're facing right now. Like if one of your experts shows up to a house and there's a family full of 5 or 6 people there, how are you countering those challenges right now?
Yeah, it's a really weird time for our business model. I think on one hand, you have everybody at home that's walking around their house aimlessly, looking at all the things that they need to get done and don't know how to do it themselves. And we provide that service, but like you said, it's a challenge because we're bringing people to people's homes, and the comfort level that homeowners have right now is not very high. There's a lot of risk involved in that, so when we look at our business, we kind of had to pivot and bring different kinds of value. The challenge we have right now is people are struggling to get groceries and just supplies to continue their household moving forward. So what we did in a press release we launched last week was we have over 700 experts signed up onto the platform who have driver's licenses and cars. So we reached out to them and basically said, given the current situation, we would like to get everyone, as many people as possible, to
Is
sign up.
that 700 across Canada or North America?
Just across Canada.
Okay.
We would like them to focus on pickup and delivery to help those in need, the elderly, disabled, people who may be sick, who can't get out. And they can go do their shopping for them and drop it at the front porch. And the nice thing about our app is, no money changes hands, and they can go and pay for it and charge the customer for the groceries through the app. They don't even need to speak to them. They can leave it on their front porch. So things like that, we've really put a focus on. The other is outside work. So yard maintenance, roofs and gutters, windows. There's no real interaction that needs to happen there. But also ensuring that our experts know sort of the code of conduct to follow. So wear gloves, you don't need to speak to the homeowner, to chat through the app so things are
Right.
clear. So we're trying to focus on things that we can do. But what I think will come out of this, as we hopefully get out of this turmoil time, is people are realizing all the things they need done around their house. So when the comfort level gets back, I think we'll be in a very good position.
Yeah, I was going to say, like this time of year, as I said earlier, is springtime, which is traditionally a very, very busy time for home renovations. And some of the people I've interviewed, it's like they've been so busy traveling, for the past year or two, and now they're sitting in rooms they haven't even been in for like, the past couple of years, and realize, there's some work that needs to be done. So, given the current circumstances and the challenges that you're facing, does this still somewhat present somewhat of an opportunity for you, knowing that people are going to be at home and they're reevaluating things from like a home office perspective?
Well, 100%. And, I've always said in some of my previous interviews is, our business in a way is somewhat recession proof. When people are forced to put their money elsewhere, typically they put it into their biggest asset,
Right.
which is their home. I'm a perfect example of that. I've been home for 2.5 weeks now. I've rebuilt my front porch. I've painted both of my kids' bedrooms. I've installed new light fixtures. I've rearranged things in my garage. I've done a bunch of stuff outside. So, I think there's a huge opportunity here because people are really starting to realize that, all the things that they need done that they haven't had time to even focus on are now shedding light on it. So, when the comfort level comes back, I think, if we do things properly, we'll be in a very good spot.
Have you guys come up with, I know it's still early, but strategy wise, and there's a lot of, again, spoken to a lot of people, and there's just answers that we don't have right now. And is this a month? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? And as you look at your business model right now, I guess the question I'm looking for, or the answer I'm looking for, is, are you guys sustainable to have your model in place for an extended period of time? And if have you come up with the strategy, is if this does last for 3 or 6 months, how do you plan to counter with that?
Yeah, I think for us, we're going to focus on those tasks or categories that we can still do. We have a stable of people that can get out and help in our communities.
Mhm.
We're even looking at discussions of partnering with grocery store chains and partnering with delivery companies that are providing these types of services. So, the technology is the technology, and basically what it is, it's a marketplace app. Our
Mhm.
job and our technology connects people. And there's many different ways that we can pivot, whether it's driving people places. There's many other options, but anything that we can connect one person to another person, we can capitalize on. So there's a lot of strategy discussions going on behind the scenes that will allow us to pivot and shift once we determine and understand how long this is going to go on for.
You find that you're getting a lot of calls right now?
It's tailed off a little bit.
Yeah.
We've seen quite a drop, and I think it's more of just people have fear. They don't want to have any interaction. We are seeing quite a few tasks being booked for a lot of the outdoor stuff that we offer. So lawn maintenance and yard work and roofs and gutters and exterior painting, things like that. People are still booking, which is great, but not in the volume that it used to be. That's for sure.
Our regulations are a lot more strict in Canada than versus say in the US. And there's a lot of rumors that there's a potential housing crash happening in the US where Canada remains strong. You're based out west. Do you feel like the housing market, not only where you are, but across Canada, will sustain itself and remain very strong and potentially grow even after knowing the volatility of the stock market for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think we're a little early to determine where that's going to net out. But here in Vancouver, the housing market is always strong. It's a matter of supply and demand here. But what does concern me is all of the people who are going to be laid off or
Mhm.
are already laid off, who can't afford to live here and can't afford to pay their rent. There's going to be a lot of vacancy in that rental market. As far as homeowners in the real estate market and where things are trending across the country, I think it's going to get tough. But like you said, we have a lot more strict regulations here in Canada, and we're in a better spot. People aren't as leveraged as they are in the US, but I think we'll see where this nets out. But for example, for me, I just redid our mortgage. We were up for renewal. We locked in at some of the lowest rates we've seen in years,
Yeah.
and an opportunity to for people to get rid of some of their debt and just focus on their homes. So yeah, I don't know where it'll go, but this whole pandemic and forcing people to be at home and be with their families has really changed people's perception
Right.
on the way we were, the way we did business. For example, I was downtown Vancouver running around doing some things for work yesterday, going to the bank and a few other places, and it was a ghost town down there.
Was it? Yeah.
But with that in mind,
What time of the
people are
day was
still,
that at?
that was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm. So
But people,
normally that time of year, like, when you're in a city like Vancouver, whether it's 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you're dealing with a lot of traffic, correct?
it's I can get from my house to downtown in 20 minutes, whereas on a normal day that would take me over an hour. But people are still finding ways to get things done, and
Right.
remote work is becoming the big trend.
Right.
And people need to rethink, like, do I need a 15,000 square foot office space? And people spending 40% of their life in their car commuting.
Mhm.
People are realizing that spending time with their family and doing those things that you never used to do, like
Yeah.
I sit and play backgammon with my son every night, and we go for walks. And
Right.
I hate to say it, but I never used to do that kind of stuff. So I think our priorities are shifting a little bit.
How's Mr. Baumler doing through all this?
He's holed up in the Bahamas. Unfortunately, they had to release a statement that they've shut down operations of his resort, which isn't very timely. They basically just opened and were fully booked right through until I think midsummer.
Mhm.
They had to cancel all those reservations. It's a challenge because travel, and that's one thing I've been talking to a lot of people about, is it's going to take a long time for people to get comfortable with hopping on an airplane or going to an airport. So not only here in Canada are we all suffering, look at resort towns, look at Mexico and travel destinations. How are they going to come out of this, and how long is that going to take? But for Brian, he's got a lot of different business ventures. The good news is the construction industry is still going. So his Baumler group of companies and building of homes is still happening. They've obviously seen a decline, but yeah, for him, he's just kind of riding this out and see where it nets out.
How'd the relationship start between you and Brian?
It was a funny one. I actually came up with the business model God, 2.5 years ago, and I named the company Fast Task Technologies. Just was a name that I came up with. And as I was driving to work one day, I thought, the only way this is really going to take off and not cost me millions of dollars to get brand confidence and get the brand out there would be to partner with a celebrity. He was the first guy I thought of. Didn't know him from a hole in the ground.
Really? Wow. Good for you.
He was on our TV all the time. I love home renovation shows. And so I went to his website, brianbaumler.com, and there was a contact us form, and I wrote a 2-paragraph sales pitch. And the next day I got a call from a 416 number, and it was him. And he said, "You got me
Wow.
on this." So I flew out to Toronto, had breakfast with him, and we
That's
changed
entrepreneurship at its finest, huh?
yeah. Well, you never know if you don't swing, right?
Right, exactly. It's
Yeah.
incredible. So here you are 2.5 years in, and I assuming obviously you've learned a lot through him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.